Just last week, I was updating you all on OG YouTuber Vitaly's downward spiral in the Philippines. Things have only gotten worse. After spending over 2 months in detention, Vitaly was begging for mercy, claiming his mental health had deteriorated, that he'd rediscovered religion, and even requesting either temporary bail or outright deportation. But here's the thing, not only did the Filipino government deny his request, both America and Russia, his home countries, want absolutely nothing to do with him. Russia even went so far as to publicly state that Vitali should serve as a cautionary tale for its citizens when traveling abroad. Their official stance? Foreign nationals who abuse our hospitality and violate our laws must face the consequences. Vitaly's usual antics aren't working this time. Publicity stunts and legal tricks aren't going to save him. The Bureau of Immigration in the Philippines made it very clear, no special treatment, no bending of the rules. And up until recently, all we had were reports. But now we have images, and the transformation is shocking. In his early court appearances, Vitaly was smirking, laughing, and mocking the situation. But after 2 months in a nightmare detention facility, he now looks gaunt, emotionally broken, and like a shell of his former self. He's reportedly lost over 50 pounds, and it shows. Gone are the days of steroids and protein shakes, in their place, likely just cockroach-infested cells and rat urine. The smugness that once defined him? Completely erased. New photos show Vitaly looking devastated as he learns he'll be transferred to an actual Filipino prison, no longer surrounded by other foreigners awaiting deportation, but now among hardened criminals. The stress on his face is obvious. This isn't the playground he thought it would be. He probably assumed his money and status would make all this disappear, just like in his past run-ins with the law. But this time, the Filipino people are demanding real justice, and they're not letting up. And then there's the irony of his clothing. In one appearance, he wore a shirt labeled Immigration Depot Route, almost as if he believed it was his ticket home. But it turned out to be the cruelest bait and switch. He thought deportation was imminent. Instead, he was transferred to a far worse environment, a high-security prison with real criminals, where he now faces charges of unjust vexation, theft, and public harassment. Oh, and in case you missed it, there's a now viral image of Vitaly being baptized. His team is clearly leaning into this religious redemption narrative, hoping it'll help him in court. But as of June 11th, Vitaly has been locked up in the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology in Muntinlupa City, where he could be stuck awaiting trial for up to 3 years. Some speculate he might not even survive that long. There are conflicting reports about his potential sentence, some say 18 months, others claim he's facing up to 24 years. Even the lower end would be brutal, but 24 years would be life-altering. And if you're wondering what this prison is like, it's not just rough, it's a living nightmare. I watched a documentary filmed inside that same facility, and it's horrifying. Built for 1,500 inmates, it currently houses over 8,000. Inmates are crammed together with barely enough space to lie down. Hygiene? Non-existent. There's one bathroom for nearly 100 people, no plumbing, and water comes only in buckets. Most prisoners don't have access to toothpaste, soap, or even proper clothing unless they can buy it themselves. New arrivals, like Vitali, are placed at the absolute bottom of the social hierarchy. He'll be sleeping next to the toilet, without privacy or protection. And while some prisoners, like one man named Reno, managed to carve out a tiny space for themselves after years of earning respect, Vitali has a long way to go before even that's an option. Reno, for instance, earned his 1.5-meter cubicle only after serving 3 years, acting as a peacekeeper, and basically doing favors for guards. In contrast, Vitaly's future involves sleeping on overcrowded floors, surrounded by strangers who likely don't look kindly upon foreigners, especially ones with his reputation. If that wasn't bleak enough, the prison is surrounded by double fences topped with barbed wire and monitored by 10 watchtowers. It's not just the living conditions, it's the mental toll. One former inmate in the documentary explained how he started talking to himself out of sheer loneliness. No visitation rights. No outside contact. Just isolation and fear. And that's the fate awaiting Vitali, a man who once built his brand on chaos and stunts. The irony is suffocating. This is someone who believed money and fame could buy his way out of anything. But now, even with all that clout, no one is coming to save him, not America, not Russia, and definitely not the Filipino government. What's worse is that I doubt he's even learned anything. I watched the last video he posted before his arrest, announcing his comeback, and it was a masterclass in delusion. He glamorized everything he's done wrong. Called himself a supervillain who can't be killed. Compared himself to the Joker. He twisted every red flag in his past into some kind of motivational story, whether it was steroid abuse, staged pranks, or his deeply problematic content. He even dismissed a past arrest involving drugs and assault as just a low point. He tried to spin his steroid transformation as inspirational. His failed attempt at vigilante justice, catching predators, was nothing more than a performance, and a dangerous one at that. In short, Vitali has zero concept of accountability. He's the poster child for everything wrong with clout-chasing YouTubers who think the internet gives them immunity. But now, that illusion has been shattered. He's not in LA anymore. He's not pranking frat boys or flexing on TikTok. He's trapped in a prison where even basic human dignity is hard to come by. Unless some bizarre political miracle occurs, this might be the end of Vitali's story, and honestly, it might be the only thing that finally teaches him a lesson. But knowing Vitali? He'll find a way to spin this into content the moment he's free, if that day ever comes.